International recording legend Denny Zager of Zager Easy Play Guitars, and writer of In the Year 2525, the biggest one-hit wonder in world recording history, selling over 20 million records.
You're sitting there thinking, what song was that? I remember the melody line, but I don't remember what it was. It was a John Denver Annie song. I believe that's the right one. I've done so many songs, I forget which is which. I remember how they go when I'm playing them, but I forget, not sure what, the ones that I knew the words to, naturally they come together and then I know it. Speaking of John Denver, I had a couple incidences with John. Evans and I were actually, we were in the business at the same time, but we had In the Year 2525 before him. And my son was telling me just the other month, well, he's pretty much the head of our business, Zager Guitar, and he's saying, yeah, I remember when I was younger, this guy kept sending you songs, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, yeah, I remember a guy doing that. Make a long story short, that was our friend John, and he was always sending me new stuff. And the situation, the way it turned out, I wanted to use one of his songs, and it was Annie's song, and I was going to take that and ended up not doing it because he recorded it before I did. I wanted some material for one of the albums, and one of his songs was kind of what the doctor ordered. But it's kind of ironic, too, because I've learned how to fly an airplane. Not well, but I learned how. I have, 400 to 600 hours solo in the air, and I never did get my navigation and totally my license. But John and I had a lot of things in common that I found out later. His dad was a test pilot, one of the best in the country from what I hear. And then John got into flying too, which, as a lot of you probably remember, was his demise. It was a very sad situation. But I really got into flying. I loved it. In fact, we were looking at a Learjet at the time. And I remember we took it out for a trial. And we flew to Chicago and came back. But while we were out there, we were driving over the city. And he says, well, we were looking at the plane to see what it would do. He says, I'll show you what this thing will do. And over the city, you can only fly a certain altitude and a certain speed. But we got out of the city, and then he says, I'll show you what this thing will do. We were flying along like this, and pretty soon the tail went down, and we went straight up. Needless to say, that was a fun ride. Live and learn. As I recall, I think I spent 15 minutes in the cockpit, just, whipping around. I didn't land or anything. With the small planes, it was only one single engine propeller and everything, but very extremely exciting period of time. Unfortunately, my instructor shortly after that, they had problems with one of the Lears out at the airport, and him and a mechanic went up and try to figure out what was wrong with this. One of the other pilots had taken it up, and it was doing something weird. And they flew it straight into the ground, killed both of them, I think. My instructor was, 27 years old, had a daughter of 3 years old. It was a very sad story, but I remember John Denver. I actually introduced John to Jerry Weintraub, which is out of New York, or was. In fact, he just died just recently. That was, I've had some things, you get a little older and you go through life, and some of it isn't easy. But that was one of them just recently. And John was looking for a manager at the time. And so I introduced John to Jerry Weintraub, and everybody has seen what he's done since. Jerry tended to do that thing he does with a lot of artists, and he did the same thing with John. Oh God, one of the movies he did, and all kinds of albums all over the place. But John was one of the few artists that I knew fairly well. It's like two ships in the night. Most of the time on the road, you don't run into them. You hear about them, and like John, I dealt with him just a little bit, and he'd send songs to me to, listen to and maybe use. And at that time, he wanted us to use them because we had 25/25, and he was just getting started. So, but anyhow, so much for Annie's song. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back with some more fun things. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.